Welcome back again. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Ross the Oliver Man, and this is part 2 of putting power beyond on the 1855. When last we left, we had gotten the valve up here mounted, but we had not yet put a return line on it, and we had some brackets to make. Since then, I have made the brackets, but I also ended up going ahead and putting the return line in, and I went a different route than I thought I was. I ended up making a custom hose and used a JIC adapter with this 90-degree fitting so that I could get the hose the direction I wanted, and I thought that this would put less stress on the fitting in here other than having a hose coming straight out and kinked around. I just thought maybe that would be a recipe for a problem later on. So we went this route, and I'm happy with the way that turned out because it looks nice. It doesn't look like it's cobbled up. So I suppose now the first thing we should do is put our valve on, or put our bracket on our valve. And you can see my little bracket that I made here. It actually goes like this. So we'll get that mounted up in there, and we'll see how that looks. This is just a piece of flat steel that I made with a torch and a drill press and a magic marker and, you know, a vise and the old snap-on bearing remover slash metalworking tool. So I think it turned out pretty good. I didn't have any of the correct shade of meadow green and rattle cans on hand, unfortunately, so this is a little bit off. It's not quite, you can't really tell here because some of this paint is sun faded, but anyway, I'll probably pull them off again later and respray them so they're a little closer. But for now, we're gonna get it mounted up on here, and let's get started. Okay, here's the moment of truth to see if this is what we want. And I think it is. Everything's nice and solid now, and it doesn't move around, and it doesn't look too bad. I could have probably trimmed it down here more, but it's stronger this way, so we'll just go with it. But I think this is going to be what I want, and it's out of the way where it doesn't hit anything. So I think this end is good to go. Now, I've noticed in my videos that I always tell you not to do something, and then I end up doing that exact thing. And I guess this is an example of that. I did not drain the oil yet. I wanted to make sure that this was going to work. So I just did the old 1-2, pull out the plug, shove this in, and I didn't lose too much oil that way. So anyway, I'm glad that this worked out. I was worried that I wasn't going to have enough clearance in between here, but I've actually got quite a bit more than I thought I would. So that's good. I was originally thinking of doing something along the lines of this in order to get away from here so that the hose wasn't in two sharp bends, one right after the other. But I didn't really like this idea. I thought it looked kind of clumsy. So I went ahead and sprung to have a custom hose made, which, as you can see, any fittings with tube are not cheap. $21 for one fitting. So, you know, instead of about 14 bucks for a hose, I now have a $50 hose. But in the long run, I think it's going to work better and it looks nicer. So I'm okay with that. It'll probably last my lifetime. So next, down here, to get our couplers mounted up, we're going to put on our bracket for keeps this time. I just had it loosely mounted before. So we'll put this on, and then we'll get our coupler mounted up and put the two remote outlets in it and make sure that everything is good there. So we got that on there now. Now we've got our bracket here, and I don't have any on hand of the little locks that hold it in. I'm going to try to use washers today, but Maybach makes a nice piece that kind of updates the original. The original was just two little flat pieces that fit into the recess here to hold your coupler in place, but I'm going to try it with washers today and see if that'll work to get us going. Return hose in. Get our pressure hose in. Maybe. Ooh. Picked up a little dirt along the way. Now let's see about getting these locked in here. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. It's on there, it's out of the way, and you know, I think that's going to be what we want. So the nice thing about these coupler brackets, if you don't know, these were mainly popular on like the 55 series and the whites when they switched to these Pioneer ends, which if you're looking for them, I don't know if I can find the number, but they're 8250 Pioneer ends. There's the number, 8250. And what they allow you to do is couple under pressure. You see they got that pin with the hole in it to let off the pressure as you're hooking it up. And these holders are nice because you can just, well, okay, so anyway, in theory, these holders are nice because you can do this one-handed, but I don't have the right locks. I tried to use washers and it's not gonna work. Well, let's just use one of these to demonstrate. So you can do this one-handed and hook up, and then you can pull out. And actually, because these are always under a little bit of hydraulic pressure, that helps it break away in case a pin breaks or something. So your hoses should pop out. But it's really nice to be able to just plug them in with one hand instead of trying to hold back or something while you're hooking up. So these are well worth the investment if you don't have them, but they're getting kind of hard to find because, you know, they only made so many originals. The other thing I want to add, and I haven't, I'm going to have to make a piece when I put those locks on, is I finally found a source that has the original style little plugs for your outlet. So anyway, what they do is they just chain up here. Usually one of these had a little tab that your key ring went through. So I've got enough to replace them on this whole tractor, because back when I first fixed this up, I did not have a source for these. So I got these rubber ones, but they're not that great. I also want to clean this up a little bit and probably make one new hose at least. I've got one oddball and that kind of bothers me. I don't know why, but I'll probably do that and clean this all up and make sure it's not leaking. We still need to put the new line on there to feed the remotes, and we'll do that. And then change the oil, hydraulic filter. I've got a new filter coming with all the O-rings we need to fix that. I got a new end of hose to put on the filter, between the filter and here, so that hopefully that'll take care of any leaks, because it looked kind of damp under there. But other than that, this is ready to go, and we can hook it up and watch it run the blower. There's a few other things I've decided to do while I'm working on it. One of them is I'm going to make better lines for my fender fuel tanks. The originals were tucked back up here more, and I think I want to do that again. When I put these on, I couldn't really find any good resources on how all that was made, so that's been 15 years ago or more now. So I'm going to redo that, I think, and make it look a little bit cleaner. On this side, it's really bad. I got it way stuck out here, but I think I can tuck that back here and just make it a little bit better while I'm at it. So remember, I said that we also want to do the same thing to the 1755. And if you look here, our return port hole has the sender for the hydraulic temperature in it. Originally, I thought that that was done because the tractor had a cab on it and there was a panel that was kind of down there in the way of where this is on the other tractor, and I thought, well, they moved it back here to eliminate that. But upon further inspection, there is no plug down here to take out to put that temperature sender in. I might be able to see if I can get you down in there to see, but there's nothing. So I'm either going to have to drill and tap that to take that sender. I'm not real sure what I want to do yet. I really don't like drilling and tapping and something like this, but that is something that you had to do because a lot of the earlier tractors didn't have that plug in the back. So if you wanted to plumb in your return, that was what you had to do. But I'm not sure how we're going to solve that problem just yet. If worse comes to worse, I can always just tie a remote to get by if something happens to the other tractor. But I would like to have the same setup on here just so it's ready to go in case. I think we'll go ahead and call this the end of part 2. We'll go ahead and do that other stuff in the next video, and then we'll fill it with oil and everything and then go try it on the blower. It doesn't have a whole lot of oil in it right now, as you remember from last time, so it doesn't really make sense to put some in and try it out and then go drain it all out again and do everything we need to do. So we'll just call this quits for now, and we'll pick it back up here next time. As always, thank you for watching my videos. If you haven't already, please hit that like button and subscribe, and then you won't miss anything. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.